If you've been scrolling through TikTok or YouTube lately, you've probably seen some of those insanely satisfying ASMR videos. You know, those ones with the glass fruit that absolutely is cut perfectly with the sound effects that go with it in a really nice cinematic environment. And they're getting millions of views. But have you ever wondered, how do we actually generate them? Well, in today's video, I'm going to show you with a nice, simple 4-step formula how we can get those outputs generated nice and easily with the sound effects and stored into our Google Drive so we can publish them on lots of different platforms. And the best part, we're not going to be tied into any subscriptions. We're only going to pay for what we actually generate. So what's the output we're getting? Well, as you can see on the right hand side here, we've got a few examples, so I'll play them in the background now. So let's jump into a demo and see exactly how it works. Well, we've got two ways of doing it. I'm going to show you just the Telegram one today, but if you wanted to run it through a schedule, you'd be able to do that as well. And this way, at the same time, every single day, it will be able to go through and generate a request for you. But let's come down to the left-hand side here in Telegram. We're going to put our prompt in here. We're then going to send this off, and we're going to re-execute our Telegram workflow, and as you can see here, it's now captured our request that came through with all of those different points. Next, we're going to go through and improve that prompt so that we get a really good output that we can use with VEO3. So we've taken our input on the left hand side here and we've gone through and rewritten it using our prompt that we've generated, which I'll show you a little bit later on. We're then going through and using Replies, which again is that pay per use platform. We're not tied into any of the subscriptions here, and we're able to get access to Google's VEO3 and VEO3 fast, so we can use that. Now, Google VEO3 is expensive. We're around 75 cents per second or around $6 per output. But if you're looking for something a bit cheaper, they do have other models out there, which I'll show you a little bit later on. But they don't have any sound effects. Once we've gone through and generated our request, we're going to store it in our Google Drive for future use, because again, nice and expensive, so we want to make sure that we've got them for the future. And then we're going to return it back into our Telegram chat, like you can see on the left hand side here. So I'll wait for this to finish and show you the result. So there we go, we've got the output in the background on the left hand side here, so let's bring it up onto the screen. So there you go, as you can see, able to get that output within 2 minutes. And you can fully go through and tailor the prompt to whatever you need, so you can get those outputs maybe in a specific style, so that you can get it exactly how you want it. We're going to walk through this from scratch today, but if you want to get access to it nice and easily, come across to our community. You'll get access for free as part of your 7-day free trial. Come across to Classrooms. We've got lots of other resources in here, but the one that you want today is an AI video generation. You want one that is ASMR Google VEO3. We've got all of the requests, all of the different instructions we're using in here. Or you can come down the bottom, download this blueprint here, come across to a new workflow in n8n, import from file, and then it will be all ready to go for you straight away. The only thing you need to do is change your API keys for Telegram and for Google VEO3, as well as the Google Drive storage here. So let's jump into it and see exactly how we build it. As mentioned, we're going to go through and build it with the actual request from Telegram today. The one that is in the scheduled is basically just using a scheduled trigger, and then we can define the prompt in here that will be pulled through in the future. So to set Telegram up, we're going to come through and do a Telegram node. We're then going to come down the bottom and we'll see we've got the triggers here. Now the one that we want is on message. And this way we're going to be able to get any of the messages that come into our chat to come straight through to our workflow. We're going to need to connect it, so come down and create a new credential, and we're going to need the access token. To do this, come across to Telegram. You need to come through and search for bot and then father, and it will be the one here with the blue tick. When you come into it, come through and just choose new bot, and we'll go through the process of naming it and setting it up. So for example here we can do Google VEO3 ASMR and then demo. We'll copy this and send it off, and then we'll paste it in there again and just put bot at the end. Now that we've gone through and giving it a name, we've got this API token here. Now we can copy that API token there and paste it into here. So if we do save, it will go green and we'll be all good to go. Now we can come through and rename it. This is really key if you've got multiple chats, just to make sure you put it right back into that chat. We're going to do Google VEO3 ASMR and then demo. We can do save, and now we're all ready to go in here. What we want to do is click on the chat, and this will bring us into this new page here. So now to give it a test, we'll come down and just put test in there, do execute step, and we should get it coming through as this text down the bottom here, which is good. We know it's all working. So now we can receive the requests. We need to go through and generate that prompt. So we're going to pull this down here, and then we're going to use a basic LLM chain to get the output we want. We're going to change this to define below so that we can use that expression from the left-hand side. Now, if you want to be able to capture the standardized request on a trigger as well as Telegram, come into here and then come back across to our community, up to the top, and you'll find that input in here. Copy this, come back across, and then just paste into here. What you'll notice is this goes green, and that's going to put across the text from the trigger. Or you can put it across and it will work it out for you automatically. We're also going to need to add a prompt in here. So we'll change this to a system message and pop it out. We'll come back across to the community, and we're going to copy all of this, which is just a VEO3 specified prompt, and I'll walk you through it now. We're saying that it's created for those ASMR cutting videos, and it's done for Google VEO3, Kling or Cdance, which are the leading text or image to video platforms out there. We're then going to go through and clearly call out any subject, any action involved, the environment and context, any camera description, the style and tone, and we've got some lighting and atmosphere, and then any temporal control. And what we're saying it needs to do is go through and take the input from the user and produce the output, which is that updated version. So now if we come out of here and do save, we'll be able to add an AI model, and you can choose from whichever one you want. We're going to come through and use our OpenAI model to keep it nice and cheap today. We're going to be using our ChatGPT 4.1 model, and if you've not added this before, come through to create a new credential and add your API key in here. You'll find your API key in the playground of OpenAI, so make sure to go over there, copy it, and bring it in here. You're only going to be billed on what you use, and it's going to be very cheap, because for platforms like ChatGPT 4.1, you're looking at around $10 per million tokens used. So we'll come out of here and do save. We're then going to pull this to the right hand side so it's out of the way. If you like this video, please make sure to hit subscribe. We've got lots of other videos on the channel that cover around AIs and automations that you can use with video, image, or business day-to-day activities. Great. So now to give it a test, we're going to come through to here and put a proper prompt in there, which we're going to use to generate our video. We'll now come through, execute the workflow, and as you can see here, it's pulled that request through and gone through and updated it so that we can get a really good output. Now I've given it quite a detailed prompt, but it would work exactly the same. It's just if we came through and gave it a much smaller prompt to improve the output. So just to show you that, I'll send this request off, execute the workflow, and as we can see here, we've gone from a smaller, high-level prompt to a really good detailed prompt on the right-hand side. We'll be able to do save, and now we're going to get into the great part around generating those videos. We'll pull this across and we're going to do a HTTP request. Now in today's video, we're going to be using Replicate, which is a great platform for running on demand of all of the AI image and video generation modules. If I click on the video, as you can see here, they've got all of the different ones to choose from. Now each of these have a different cost point, but at the moment, Google is only the one that really has good sound effects to go with it as well. If we click on CDANS 1, for example, this is going to come through and cost you around 15 cents per second of video that you output. We've got VEO3, which is going to cost you around 8 cents per second of output. And if we come down, we've got Google or Kling. And Kling, that's going to be around 28 seconds per output of video. But if you want to go to that top tier with the sound effects included straight away, you're going to need to use Google's VEO3 model. Now this is much more expensive with that $6 per 8 second of video. And as you can see here, we're looking at 75 seconds per video in a lot of use cases. So think about the cost side, whether you want to put those sound effects over the top or you want to use something like Google VEO3 and get it all done in one go. We're going to do run with the API and we're going to come down to HTTP. Now we're going to have this request here, so we'll copy this, come back across, and then import the curl into our chat. We're going to need to go through and make a few changes. So where we've got the JSON input, i.e. the information we're sending across to Replicate, we're going to remove this and put across the text from our basic LLM chain. And as you can see on the right hand side here, one of the features I love about n8n, we can see exactly what's going to be sent off in this request. In this case, we're going to be showing a sharp knife cutting through a hyper-realistic crystal circuit board. We're going to come out of here and we're going to need to update our API token. So you come back across to Replicate, up to your account and API tokens. You'll then see here you can generate one. I've already got one generated, so we'll copy that. We'll come back across and then paste into here. We're just going to come out of here and rename the module to VEO3. Now, what we're going to need to do is come through and have an if statement because we're going to need to check if that output has been generated. So we're going to come into where we've got string and we've got is not empty. We're then going to need to put two curly brackets, JSON.output, because this is one of the fields that we're checking if that video has been generated yet. If it's not been generated, we'll come down this bottom part here and we're going to use a wait module just to wait a certain amount of time to give that video a chance of being generated. We're then going to come in here and do another HTTP request, and this is going to be for getting that video status. To do this, we're going to need to add a URL in here, but we can't run that quickly yet. We need to deactivate it and just come through and execute the step. The reason for this is we're going to start that procedure with Google VEO3 of generating that video. Again, this is going to go off and it's going to start the request with Replicate, which is only paying for what we need. If you want to check if it's working, come across to your prediction. And as you'll see at the top here, we've got one that's currently being processed through Google VEO3. And as you can see, it takes between 1 minute to 2 minutes to generate the output. If we come back across though, what we should see any second now is that executing node has a blank output field. So we'll just wait for this to come back. There we go. And as we can see here, that blank output field. So now we've come down to wait because we've seen that the output field is still empty. It's not got that URL generated at the moment. What we can use is this get request here and pull that across. And this is going to enable us to go through and check the status. We're going to need to add some headers though, which is going to be our authorization to allow us to get that video status. So make sure to add them in here from your previous VEO3 module, or if you use the blueprint, it'll all be ready to go. You just need to add your API key in there. We'll reactivate this module, and then what we should see is that we potentially have that output ready to go, and there you go, we can see it's ready. So now if we duplicate this, what we're going to say up the top here is that we're going to request that output module. So we'll come up to the top, get that JSON output, and we're going to paste it in there. So now if we run this step again, if we connect this back up, run this step again, what we should see is that it loops round and it finds that that video has actually been generated. So as we can see here, it's going to wait 5 seconds, revalidate the status of that video. And now because we've got that output, which is that video URL, it's come through and downloaded it for us. So now we can check it out. There we go. So we got the output. I think that looks incredibly fantastic. But again, we are paying a lot for that output. So we're going to need to monetize it through those platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and other ones out there. Next, we're going to want to store this. So we're going to come through and then Google and then Drive. And what we're looking for is upload a specific file. There we go. Now, you're going to make sure that you've got your connection in place. I've included the link below to the documentation on n8n, as well as the video that will walk you through exactly how to set it up, because it takes a little while to get it done. We're going to come back through here though, because we've already got our account connected. We're going to make sure that our output here relates to that output there. So we know what binary file we're uploading into our Google Drive. We're then going to come through, I'm just going to use the ID as the file name, and we can say output. The reason for this is if you ever wanted to record it in the future, you can do that through Replicate. Next, we're going to come through. Now, I've been storing all of mine in these ASMR outputs here. As we can see, we've got lots of different ones to choose from. Now, to show you how Google compares, we ran a similar prompt through Cdance Pro 1 a little bit earlier on. And as you can see here, I think that output looks incredibly good. It is significantly cheaper than Google VEO3, but we don't have that sound effects included. So it just depends on if you want to pay for that and include it over the top. We're going to come out of here though, and we're going to note that our folder is called AI ASMR output. So if we come back across to our workflow, we're going to look for our AI ASMR and then output. There we go. So now what we should see is that it adds it in there. If I do execute step, we should get a confirmation back any second now. And if I come into our environment, refresh this, what we should see is that we've got a new one up the top here, which is our latest one that we've added. Now if we come back across, do save, we're going to come through and have an if statement. The reason for this is because we've got the two options. So if it's Telegram, we're going to put it back in the chat. If it's not and it's scheduled, it's all good to go. We've added it to Google Drive. We're going to come through to here, collapse it down on the left, and look for that Telegram trigger. We're going to have the chat ID, and then we're going to change it so that we've got number is not empty. So now if I do execute step, what we'll find is that we've got the true branch because we have that chat that exists. So now we're going to come through and we're going to use a merge module because we don't have that binary file of the video for us to upload in the chat. So to get it back, use combine and then all possible combinations. We're then going to need to put it down and connect it in here. So where we've got the get video output, we'll do get video. We're going to pull that down into here. So now the binary file, i.e. the video that we generated, can be pulled through to the next step. So if I execute this, we'll see that we've now got that video ready to go. And we've got the schema, i.e. all of the other data that sits around it as well. Next and final step, we just need to come through and use Telegram. Do Telegram, and then we're looking for send a video. And what we're going to do here is make sure that we've got binary file turned on. You want data here to match data here. We also want to change the schema because we need to come right back to the start and get that chat ID and pop it into here. If you want it to be tagged back to a specific message, also come through and add reply to message ID, put across that message ID, and it will relate it back to that message that was sent through. You can also add elements like captions, so you could say your AI video is ready with an exclamation mark. Now the key part for this is always double check that the account that you have in here is the same as the one that you had up the top. Otherwise it will go through and put it into a different chat, which we don't want. So the one that we had was Google VEO3. So make sure that we come up to here. Now if we do execute step, what we should get on the left hand side any second now is that video returned into the chat. And if we open this up, there we go, we've got that full video ready to go straight away. Make sure to come across to the community if you're interested in learning more about AI video generation or any of the other AI agents that we've generated, so you can get the most out of n8n and many other platforms out there, or run some of your own AI locally, or learn how to get the most out of platforms with like image generation. We teach you how to do lots of prompting, guidance on much more in that space as well. Stay tuned for more on AI automation, and have a great day.